Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Dea Ayu Syabana. I'm from Class 5E. In this video, I would like to explain two chapters, that is Chapter 9 and Chapter 10. First is Chapter 9, that is Choosing a Research Project. This chapter concerns the selection of the research and initial practical matters that researchers can address when choosing and deciding the project on which to work. What gives rise to the research project? The, what gives rise to the research project? Several points. What gives rise to the research project? Several points can give rise to a research topic. For example, for many teachers, it may be a problem that they encounter in their day-to-day work. They may want to find out the causes of the problem and how to solve it. They may want to plan an intervention to see how well it addresses or solves the problem. Some research projects may begin with an area of interest or personal experience that researchers may have been wanting to investigate, and a decision on what to research can arise from several wellsprings of the researcher's own motivation. One, a problem encountered in the research. One, a problem encountered in the researcher's everyday work or outside her or his everyday work. 2. An area of the researcher's own interest. 3. An area of the researcher's own experience. And 4. An issue that the researcher has read about it in a journal, book, or other media. Next, the importance of the research. Whatever research area or topic is identified, it is important for it to be original, significant, non-trivial, relevant, topical, interesting to a wider audience, and to advance the field. It is important to consider how the research takes the field forwards not only in terms of data but also conceptually, theoretically, substantively, and or methodologically. At issue here is not only the contribution to knowledge that the research makes, but the impact of that knowledge. Next is the purpose of the research. This section concerns purposes. What we want the research to achieve. It is vital that the researcher knows what she or he wants the research to deliver, to answer the questions. What are the deliverables in the research? In the other words, what do we want to know as a result of the research that we did not know before the research commenced? What do we want the research to do? What do we want the research to find out? It is important for the researcher to be very clear on the purposes of the research. For example, want to collect opinions on a particular educational proposal, to identify common features of successful school, 3. To see which of two approaches to teaching music result in the most effective learning. Next, ensuring that the research can be conducted. Many new researchers fondly imagine that they will be granted access to school, teachers, students, parents, difficult children, students receiving therapy, truants, dropouts, high performers, star teachers, and so on. This is usually not the case. Gaining access to people and institutions is one of the most difficult tasks for any researcher, particularly if the research is in any way sensitive. Access problem can kill the research, or it can distort or change the original plans for the research. The availability of the researcher features in ensuring that the research can be conducted, and this applies equally to the participants. Are they willing and able to give up their time in participating in the research, for example, in being interviewed? Next is considering research question. Research questions turn a general purpose or aim into specific question to which specific, data-driven, concrete answer can be given. Questions such as what is happening, what has happened, what might or will or should happen, and Andrews 2003 suggests that the research should have only one main research question and several supporting questions. It is essential for the researcher to identify what is the main question and how the subsidiary question relate to it. Next, the literature search and review. A literature review is an essential part of many kinds of research, particularly if the research is part of a thesis or dissertation. It serves many purposes. For example, it enables the researcher to raise questions that still need to be answered in the field, and it clarifies the key concepts, issues, terms, and the meanings of this further research. A literature review must be useful not only to show that the researcher has read some relevant materials, as this is a trivial, self-indulgent reason, but that this actually informed the research. Next, I will explain chapter 10, that is research question. Why have research questions? Research questions get to the heart of the research issue. For many kinds of research, the framing of the research questions is critical. It focuses, centers, shapes, steers, and drives the entire research, and it is the answer to the research questions in which the researcher is interested. Research questions taken the purposes and objectives of the research and narrow them down into specific, concrete areas of focus. They narrow the boundaries of the research and help the researcher to decide where to go in the research. Next, where do research questions come from? Research questions stem from the aim, purposes, and objectives of the research. Research questions turn a general purpose or aim into specific questions to which specific, data-driven, concrete answers can be given. This is the process of operationalization of the aims and purposes into research questions. The research questions must yield data that provide warrantable evidence. Next, what kinds of research questions are there? A useful approach to framing different kinds of research questions can be to ask questions that start with what if, who, when, where, which, whence, whither, why, and how. There are many categories of or types of research questions. Research questions can concern, for example, process, functions, and purposes, stage of something, factors, structures, properties, and characteristics of something, testing, and evaluation. Next, devising your research questions. Research questions should enable the researcher to make a significant and innovative contribution to the field of study, see something new and interesting, and contribute to the concern and current topics in the academic community. Researchers should check that their research questions will yield useful, relevant, and significant data on matters that recipients. Researchers need to decide exactly what they need to know about the matter in hand and make sure that together the research questions addresses all the required scope of the research. Next, making your research questions answerable. The researcher breaks down each general research purpose or general aim into more specific research purposes and constituent elements, continuing the process until specific, concrete questions have been reached to which specific answers can be provided. Next, how many research questions should I have? Whilst there are no hard and fast rules, a general principle is to have as few as necessary but no fewer. Some researchers suggest having only one central research question with or without several subsidiaries, like Andrews, Simon, and Creswell. White suggests no more than three or four, and Creswell also suggests 5 to 7 in qualitative research. I think that is all about my explanation. I'm sorry for my mistake. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.